time is going to fly by anyway. Time flies by so fast. And even by just taking the littlest step, if I do that every single day, I will get to where I want to go.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. I am so excited to introduce you to one of my new friends, Jesse Holmes. He is an expert in productivity and performance. He specializes in helping 6 to 8 figure entrepreneurs to beat procrastination and stay focused on their goals. He's the founder of effortlessgrowth.co. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Amanda. Excited to be here.
So excited to have you. So Jesse, you have a lot of business experience with the past company and you're now pivoting into this personal brand. I just want to know, why productivity and focus? Why is that the thing that people desperately need in today's environment?
Why is, oh my goodness, in today's environment, like there's at least a trillion distractions going on at any one moment. And I believe that focus and productivity is only going to get harder to maintain as time goes on. I use the example of, just because we have a dishwasher now, we don't have to wash dishes by hand, doesn't mean that the dishes get done because we have a better way of doing it. And with everything that we're doing with AI, with productivity tools, we have them out the wazoo, doesn't mean it's going to make us more, doesn't mean that the job is going to get.
I love that. And, unlike a dishwasher, AI is very open concept, right? Like there's still people who wash their dishes by hand because they don't have the dishwasher. AI, it's like, it's not as, I think as an early adopter, it's certainly a competitive advantage. But at some point, there's this amazing democratization of technology and access to tools that we have. But I love that metaphor that, the tool does not get rid of the need for work, and you're not going to have a competitive edge for very long of being an early adopter to use it because it is very quick and easy to pick up. You don't even have to, in a lot of cases, pay a lot for it. So that's so interesting. Where is the risk for a coach or an entrepreneur, I should say, that they are deprioritizing focus and overcoming procrastination? What are you seeing right now?
I think with the amount of tools that are available, they just assume that I'm becoming more productive because things are getting done faster. Does that make sense?
Well, what's the truth? What are you really seeing?
Well, there's just so much. There's so many opportunities. There's so many options. There's an infinite amount of ways to go in now, extremely fast. It's like giving a Ferrari to a 14-year-old who's got just about to get their beginner's permit. It's like there's so many options and opportunities, and they're willing to go a million miles an hour in any direction. But that doesn't mean that that's the direction that they either should be going on, or that's the direction that's even going to get them to their destination.
I love this. I've noticed the same thing, in the past few years. I've had shifts and changes in my own business in terms of what we do and how we do it. Still working with coaches, been working with coaches for a long time, but I have really noticed a widening gap between people who are having the best year they've ever had in terms of revenue and profit and joy in their business, and people who are not. And I have to say, I've really noticed that productivity patterns and habits and the perspective around process seems to be something that is not being talked about a lot, but I can observe it. Like I can see it. And the way I see it is I see a lot of entrepreneurs throwing spaghetti at the wall. Shiny object syndrome, but with low follow through. They're not going all the way through the exercise to then gain the failures and the learnings that are necessary to optimize and build like that feedback loop of growth. And, as a younger, I guess I could say younger entrepreneur, the spaghetti worked for a long time and then it wasn't working. So I had to start building this feedback loop in. But what I'm noticing is that that's making my behavior align more to established entrepreneurs that are doing like 10x the size of my business. And I'm noticing like a lot of people that are just sort of stuck at a scene, they don't know that. They don't know to do the feedback loop.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's good.
So, yeah, you have this habit that I thought was so interesting. I first saw it on your social media. I follow your Facebook page. And you referenced it a couple of times. And when we got to chatting and knowing each other, you referenced this thing. So, Jesse, before we went live with the podcast, I asked you, what day are we on?
Oh,
So do you want to share with our listener like what that is about?
okay. So my mantra, I came up with, I went through a lot of different struggles with generalized anxiety disorder and a number of different things. And going through that battle taught me this simple process for not only regulating my nervous system, but being able to stay focused and be productive in the right direction. And that mantra to myself is easy, enjoyable, every day. So anytime I take a task that I'm either stuck on, procrastinating on, or something that I know I need to get done, I ask myself, okay, how can I make this as easy as humanly possible to get started? There are a few other people that talk about this, like James Clear in Atomic Habits. He has this 2-minute rule and a few other people like this. But I break it down to even like, what is the absolute least amount of time I could spend on this thing just to get started, just to make it easy, to make sure that I can actually stick to it consistently for the long term. So my first pillar is make it easy. Second pillar is make it enjoyable. If this is something that doesn't align with something that I love or enjoy, or something I can't see myself doing for 10, 20, like the rest of my life, there is no reason for me to stick to it. There's no reason for it to become a habit. And there's no way I'm going to be able to sustainably and consistently grow without burning out. And so as I've been launching and going on this new journey with this new business, I just made it a simple dial. What's the least amount of time I could spend on building this new business, and set myself a daily minimum is what I like to call it. And my daily minimum was like, I could spend 10 minutes. I can do 10 minutes every single day. Obviously, it's grown to a lot more than that, but it's set a baseline habit of each and every single day. I work on my main objective, focus on it, and then make sure I follow through with it. And I just had a daily diary of day 1, day 2, day 3, and I just take a little snapshot of myself.
I love that. It's so elegant and it's very, very simple. The concept that I teach in my coaching programs, I call it the BAM, and it's essentially the same thing. It's the bare bleep minimum, right? Just like, what's your BAM? And learning to honor the promise to yourself that you're going to follow through, and that you're going to do what you said you were going to do. Like that alone, I feel, has been one of the biggest ingredients to building a successful, sustainable coaching business with predictable outcomes. Obviously, I can't tell the future, but I have a pretty strong, long track record of our business and continuing to grow month over month, mainly because I don't make the commitments too big, but I do make them mandatory. And Jesse, you actually were coaching me on something that I found myself procrastinating on. And you helped me realize that I wasn't even following that. I was still making it too big. So can you talk to me a little bit about like, why do you think it is that we as entrepreneurs, even if we know better, we tend to go too big or to go beyond our capacity? What do you think that's about?
I think there's an innate drive in all of us that thinks like the bigger the goal, the bigger I'll be motivated to take action on it. Like we look for the biggest thing just to try to well up that inspiration, that drive. We try to, kick ourselves in gear, and we say, unless the end result is shiny enough, I won't, be motivated to do it. But what I've really come to realize is that you don't need to have motivation or willpower or discipline if you are clear and aligned on what your end goal, result, or task is. And then you just make sure you do it each and every single day. And the results will follow that as a result of the consistency. And you don't even need to kick yourself in the pants or well up this drive or desire or anything like that just to get the energy to move forward. You just need to be clear and aligned on where am I trying to go? What does that look like to me? How am I already able to live in the good of the goal that I've achieved? And just stay calm and focused and consistent on where I need to go and how I need to be there.
Mm-hmm. And it is so counterintuitive, isn't it? That you're more likely to achieve those goals with those smaller, consistent habits that Compound. I think one of my
Hmm.
favorite books that really helped me when I was launching my business was Darren Hardy's Compound Effect. Have you read that one?
I have not, but I like the
Oh
title
my
and
gosh, it's so
I know where
good.
it's going.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're saying. You know, if you're on day 270 of doing this pattern of just every day, what is that thing that I need to do that I'm really focused on it? How can I make it easier? Maybe it's not an easy thing, but maybe I can
Mm-hmm.
make it easier. How can I make it more enjoyable? And again, it might be something that's out of your comfort zone. So how do
Hmm.
you activate that? Um, with the compound effect, what I learned from Darren Hardy was all those micro behaviors, all those
Mm.
little things that we do, you can either be spiraling up, right? And
Mm.
building more and more and more, or you can be spiraling down and going
Mm.
down, down, down. So that was the first book that I had read, and there's many, many others that also say this. I found out later, but that he doesn't consume the news,
Mm.
and it's because that micro habit of
Hmm.
bad headline makes me feel bad, start searching for more bad in my environment. Why would I invite that into my life? So he has this boundary around not watching the news, and it inspired me to do the same thing. And look, I got news for anybody who's worried that I may not be updated on the worldly affairs. I still know what the
You still know what's going
headlines
on.
are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like, because everybody around me still watches the news for the most part. But yeah, like I think people fall into these downward spirals of the compound effect, and they don't realize, just how it is compounding over time, but you can use the same force to compound in an upward trajectory.
And it seems like there's a bigger resistance to compound upward than there is downward. It's so much easier to have a downward trajectory than an upward trajectory, which is why I think it's
Mhm.
just so important to make it as easy and as enjoyable as possible, just to at least get you, like, direction is more important than speed. Like, even the tiniest step in the right direction is so much more important than either standing still or heading as fast as you can in the wrong direction.
That's so good. Yes. The direction is more important than the speed. I would completely agree with that because especially when you're growing a new skill, for example, like let's say that you decide that you want to be an online marketer with your business, and you begin to realize it's like there's levels and layers to that game.
Hmm.
Okay, what part of the game do I want to learn?
That's right.
And whenever you start to learn it, you will inevitably have to slow down because you're literally retraining your brain. You're breaking how you thought things were and
Mm.
replacing it with a better understanding of truth and reality. And that's so uncomfortable. Like, I think one reason that the downward spiral is so tempting is because it is actually harder to go up because you do have to break up with old ideas and you do
Hmm.
have to make room for the new thing, and that is uncomfortable. And what I see a lot of people doing is they justify that downward spiral behavior, and they justify it with that's how it's always been. They
Mm.
justify it with I just need to feel better, I need to recover. So they
Mm.
confuse recovery with coping behaviors and
Hmm.
habits and so on. So it is a pretty complicated thing, it seems like.
Hmm. Hmm.
What would you say to an entrepreneur that maybe has some, we'll call them the downward spiral or the wrong direction habits that are eating away at their focus and eating away at their prioritization? What's some advice you might offer them?
In my experience, bad things don't just go away. You need to replace them with something positive. It's
Mm.
not just like, for so many people, let's say, I want to break this bad habit. Well, when you get rid of something, something has to fill that void. And it's so much better to think of it as, okay, it's not a bad habit or good habit. It's a habit. It's a habit that's either getting the result that I do want or the habit that's getting the result that I don't. So I need to figure, okay, what is the smallest habit that I do want? And what's the smallest step I can take to head in the direction of what I do want? And what will happen is that negative stuff, that other stuff, will get replaced by going in the right direction. There's no reason to look back at where you were going before, even if you just took the smallest step, because again, you're heading in the positive direction compared to the negative direction.
I love that. I love that. So when you started your journey 270 days ago on this particular sprint, what did you know then that was like, okay, this is the direction. Like, I know that there's this direction. How clear was that direction on day 0 or day 1 versus how clear that direction is now? Like, have you noticed a difference or a change over the last 270 days?
I had absolutely I went into this experiment for myself saying, I want to start absolutely from brand new scratch. I have absolutely no idea what I want to do, how it's going to look, where it's going to go. I just know I'm going to take one step closer to that end goal result, which is I want a business that looks like X. I knew what it wanted to give me and what it looked like, but I had no idea how I was going to get there.
That's so powerful. So you really just need that North Star.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my probably 4th or 5th read through right now, and they talk a lot about how the success mechanism in our brain works. And if you give it a goal and you live in as if you have already achieved that goal on a regular, consistent daily basis, and the how will take care of itself. Just like if I want to pick up a pencil off of my desk, I don't need to know you don't tell the brain I need to move this muscle and that thing. You give the brain the goal, and it will give you the how and what needs to actually happen to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. And been my experience as well. You know, when I started, I just knew I want to be an entrepreneur, and I knew I want to work in an area of genius. Like, I want it to be something that I can get extraordinarily good at, that will be appreciated, but that I also very much enjoy, right? So those are pretty much the parameters on day 0.
Yep.
And then as I walked along, I was like, oh, I have additional clarity here. Turns out I kind of want to keep the lifestyle that my family has grown accustomed to. Looks like I'm going to be growing something that's a multi-6-figure business, not just a 6-figure business. And I mean, that's the nature of growth, isn't it? Like, that we start with kind of a fuzzy vision. And then as you walk along, you start getting even clearer. But also, I really agree with what you're saying about like the pencil. So many times, just because my mind was on guard, I guess, or high alert for, I want more like this and less like that, that's where opportunities became more visible to me. And it's so funny because like some of those opportunities are things like developing a skill set. So right now I'm learning a lot more about conversion rate optimization in digital marketing. And I'm learning about sprint testing and agile and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm geeked out. Like, I'm really loving it. But I know that my brain wouldn't have been tuned into the signal of learn that skill next. And I think sometimes a lot of the procrastination comes up due to a lack of permission to have fuzziness in our clarity. Like, we've got to have total certainty about, 6,483 steps ahead of us in order to take one.
I fully agree that we don't take any step because we want to make sure we take either the perfect step, or there's so many possible steps that I can take, that we don't just take the one that's directly in front of us.
Yeah. True. What role do you think like things like safety have to do with that taking of the step? Because, like, I guess what I'm thinking about is a lot of entrepreneurs I've met, they feel that they shoulding all over themselves. They feel that they should already have strong productivity habits. They should already be really good at prioritizing. And in my experience, entrepreneurs are generally the worst at that. Like, they are bad at prioritizing because their ambition is huge. They want to do everything all at once, right?
Right.
So, like, what is up with that, do you think? And further to that, why is it kind of a silly idea to keep going alone on taking those steps, even if they are smaller steps?
Well, I think us as entrepreneurs, we're the dreamers, we're the creators, we're the creatives. And so part of our brain is the way we stimulate ourselves creatively is by looking at every and any opportunity and possibility. And we like to, keep that open mind and never let a good opportunity pass us by. But the problem with this, everything has an opportunity cost to it. And by trying to take advantage of every opportunity, I probably don't hold on to any. And so often we only go we don't even go to the limit of how we could even have taken one opportunity before we jump ship to the next one.
How do you know that you're actually really ready to take that next step, or that you're ready to make the pivot or to do those things and really start to, because I think one of the other things I notice is just a fear of commitment, commitment to a direction. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I found remarkable about your 200 cadence with your journal, is that's not common for somebody to pick a day zero and start walking in a direction and then keep walking every day, day by day, like that. What do you think stops people from just being okay that there's 270,000, 2,000 days ahead of them and writing it down and treating it like that?
I don't know if that's the right thing that everyone needs to do or needs to follow in my footsteps for that, but it's important to think of it as time is going to fly by anyway. Time flies by so fast. And even by just taking the littlest step, if I do that every single day, I will get to where I want to go. But so many times we either take one day and we take 1,000 steps, or we take another day and we do no steps, or another day we run in the actual opposite direction. There's this wonderful story in this book by Greg McKeown called Effortless. I'm probably going to butcher this story. But he talks about, I don't know if you've read the book. He talks about the story. Yeah, and so you probably know the story better than I do, and I'm probably going to butcher it. But it was about the explorers that wanted to go. There's two teams that were trying to traverse or get to the Atlantic or the Antarctic or whatever it was. And there was one team that, in good weather they pushed hard, in stormy weather they did nothing. And then there was another team that said, you know what? How much can we travel every single day, rain or shine? And how can we just, no matter what the conditions are, how can we make sure that we still hit our goal and target every single day? The one team, they died. The other team, they got to their destination. They said, you know what? It felt effortless. And so keeping that in mind, say, what can I do every single day, rain, snow, or shine, to take one step closer to my goal? What's my bare minimum, my daily minimum, to make sure that the goal that I'm trying to achieve, I make sure I reach my destination without burning out, without sacrificing all these other things.
I love that story, and it is a ideal that I have struggled with in terms of when I feel good, I want to do so much more, and it is kind of like the impulse, I suppose, is there to like push extraordinarily hard. But you're absolutely right. Like if you're pushing yourself to this standard or to this extent that it diminishes your ability to perform the next day, then are you really any better off? And I would argue probably not, because no matter how hard you push as an entrepreneur on one day, and there's special days, like we're at the time of this recording, Alex Hormozi is about to do another one of his mega webinars.
Yep.
And I'm really excited for it.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be great. So we have those days, right? But even Alex Hormozi, who is a prolific businessman, he still is taking steady steps towards that one really, really big performance day. But like the activities that he's choosing, and we're so blessed because we get a lot of that behind the scenes of his journey. And if you're not a big Hormozi fan, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. But one of the cool things that he's doing is he's actually showing the practice, the reps, the full dress rehearsals that he's doing, that most of us don't bring that kind of intentionality to our day and our actions. And it's simply because we are not making the trade-offs consciously. I loved that you called that out, of just, it's not about quitting a bad habit, and it's not about just inviting more into your life, which is so tempting. It is really actually about what is your steady Eddie kind of progress towards crossing Antarctica or climbing that spiral. What is that? Yeah, I love it. Jesse, what's next for you? What are you really focused on for day 71?
My current focus is asking every 6 to 8 figure entrepreneur that I come across this one question. And that question is, what's something you've been procrastinating on in your business lately?
I'll bet you're learning a lot by doing that.
I'm learning a lot, and I'm just creating content and focusing in on all of my focus in on figuring out what that problem is and helping people take one step closer to solving that problem.
And dear listener, I'm gonna spill that Jesse asked that question of me, and I said that I was having a hard time with sitting down and writing new ads. And, he helped me and guided me through a process. And I'm happy to report that I have complied with your suggestion and made massive progress. And I also learned that I had too big of a bite. And
Mm,
so actually, I've just been focusing first, like piece by piece. So this was a few days ago that we met and we were talking and everything. And so when I sat down for my first block, I was like, wait a second, I think I'm just going to test the pain points. Right. And then the next day it was, you know what, with this little bit of time I have, I'm mainly going to focus on the headlines. And I've made more progress on my ads in like just the last few days than I had for a long time because I kept waiting for this more ideal condition. I was waiting for the
mm.
sunny day. And so thank you for that, Jesse. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you followed through with it. That's exciting.
Yeah, I continue to,
Yeah,
right?
good,
Continue
good,
to.
good.
So, Jesse, what's the best way for people to keep up with you and follow you as you develop?
Yes. So if everyone here went to effortlessgrowth.co, effortlessgrowth.co, it will take you to a simple landing page that asks for your email address. The title of that is a free 5-step PDF on how to beat procrastination and stay focused on your goals. After you opt in, you will go to a thank you page that says join my free private Facebook group. After you join that Facebook group, I will personally welcome you to the group and will ask you this one question. What is something that you've been procrastinating on in your business lately? And if you answer that question, I will create a personalized video just for you on how I can walk you through the same process I walked Amanda through to help take her one step closer to the goal that she was procrastinating on.
I love it. I love it. And dear listener, if you missed the link, don't worry. We're going to have it in the show notes so that you can click it directly. Jesse, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Amanda. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And hey, before you go, dear listener, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss another amazing episode. And if you love this, if you got like a nugget that you think might really help one of your entrepreneurial friends, be sure to grab the link to the episode and send it over to them on Messenger or DM. However you like to hang out and talk with your friends, share it with 3 of them because they deserve to have more progress in their journey as well. And finally, if you've been loving the show and listening, but you haven't left a rating yet, we'd love to get a rating from you because it'll help other listeners decide if they want to spend time with us. And of course, I'm so excited you decided to spend time with us. And until I see you again in another episode, just remember, do what matters.